wake up. But seems like the sun god snoozed us all around. Or was he waiting for something else? Dear Toastmasters and friends, a cold winter morning when all that we can think of is an extra quid to cuddle and sleep off, something else happened. A pair of soft-toned legs stepped out of the doorway with a thin string of anklet tied around the leg. The tingle it made was as soft as the morning drizzle, and soon this sound was accompanied by a melodious track. I love to go wandering along the mountain track, and as I go I love to sing my peck up by my side. It was so melodious that it looked like the tall coconut trees waved a good morning to her and were not actually moved by the morning breeze. The whole town woke up listening to this song and praising her perfection. She sang till she reached the mountain cliff, picked the rarest of the flowers to decorate her crown, and on her way back she brought with her a herd of bulky, beautiful beings. Yes, 2 black cows with twinkling brown eyes and 3 white cows with mustard brown patches all over their body. As they danced to her song and came back the mountain valley, it looked like the clouds from the Pacific came to the Indian. She brought them to the yard, milked them, skimmed the milk and poured them into 2 containers. One for the bakery she worked in and another one to sell it on the way to her bakery. Perfectly planned. Like the way she was addressed, Miss Perfection. She lived in a large villa which looked like an adobe of divas, and there was a beautiful garden around her house with rare plants, enchanting fragrance flowers, and small birds that chirped and sang with her. And every day morning, this garden witnessed a crowd of people. Men stood with their best attire, the blazer and the scarf tied around their neck and whatnot, and flowers in their hand to give it to her and propose to her for their love. And women also. Now don't take me wrong. Women stood there with curiosity sparked in their eyes because she wore one of the finest garments. She used to come out with a velvet jacket, a floral skirt, really good stitch, and not to forget the ribbon around her waist. And our Miss Perfection, ensuring that she would rub off the excess shimmer from her cheek, that perfect look, would make the grand entry. And she would look at the poor men, barely sparing a look at them and say, no, none of you. And the woman stood wondering how her Mr. Perfect could look. And the funny thing is, she also joined the crowd because she had also not met her guy and she was in a long wait for that perfect match. I understand the feeling. Maybe a few spinsters and bachelors out there. President and Ananda is nodding with their bags. Well, this was a routine scene in the town. This was a routine scene in the town until one day the town was not moved by her anything. But something else happened. The sun didn't show up, nor the cirrus clouds. Black clouds sprawled across the sky. The air grew heavy and humid. There was silence everywhere until a thin crackle of thunder rolled across the rooftop and thunder struck like a silver light splitting the sky and downpour again. It rained and it rained like it's never gonna end. The whole town was flooded and men and women swam across the flood like dry leaves trying to hinge onto a support, while tiredness and pain put them to sleep. Every species in the town wanted to be alive till the next day, and so our Miss Perfecto was one among the blessed few because she opened her eyes to see the sunrise. As she opened her eyes and admired the crooked eyebrow, the barely burnished skin, and the torn clothes, because she was not in her house, she was not on the streets, but she was at the edge of the cliff and in his arms. As she hung in his arms and admired his crooked looks, he said, "Young lady, hop on, time to get back home." She was bewildered, amazed and astonished, not because she was saved from the storm, not because a guy saved her and she fell for him at first sight, but because her long-awaited dream, her dream guy, was so perfectly imperfect. She was confused and terrified and ran back home. Now let me keep the story aside. Dear Toastmasters and friends, haven't you all wondered how some unpredictable, unpleasant, and imperfect situations get you hitched with the best experiences of life? Like, let me tell you a rare situation where you encounter a road accident and you don't have your family or friends with you, and a stranger comes in for aid, and he becomes your friend for life. What a way to meet a friend. Or a lesser end situation where in college we would have all had this dream company to get into, but a little lesser score would have not made us join the company, but the company we joined gave us a ladder to success, the respect and laurels. Fair enough, right? Or a very common situation where in our teens we would have all had this perfect guy is my match, or that perfect girl is my match. And we would have either held back our emotions or gone and proposed to them, got rejected, heartbroken, whatnot. And after all these bad feelings, we have somebody else who walks into our life and gives us all the love, and still we feel blissful. Isn't that blessed? Trust me, dear Toastmasters, these might all not be the perfect situations to deal with, but yes, they are worth a living. Happiness is not all about doing or getting the perfect things. It's how we embrace the joy of the hidden imperfections. Now that all of you know how to deal with our imperfections, and few people come back from your college love stories, I have one last question to all of you from the story I narrated, and that Mr. Imperfect she met. He didn't have this smile, he didn't have this style, he didn't have a body to fight, nor did he have a house painted in white, but still she fell for him. Do you all think she must go on a coffee date with him? Well, I'll make a move while you deal the imperfections in her life and help her out. Like I always say, love your life and make your life even more beautiful. Over to you, Toast.